Ole, ole. God.
Just do
Our
it.
channel's stupid.
Just commit to it.
Ole, ole, ole. Welcome to Not Every Single. I'm Joe.
And I'm Stephanie.
Almost forgot my name. Welcome to the channel. This is a record that came out a couple of months ago, but we were kind of on hiatus then. So now we finally get to talk about the newish blink-182 record one more time. They're back. It's been since 2011.
And a lot has happened since then.
A lot's happened. We've taken it in a couple of times. I heard it when it came out, and I've been listening throughout, leading up to doing this video. You've heard it a few times now?
I think twice all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah. Overall impressions?
Overall impression, especially post, the singles coming out and kind of I remember with the singles being a little bit like, I don't know, it's a little cheesy or whatever. Man, I'm into it. I like it. It's not perfect album. We both really love Untitled. And it's not to that level for me, but it is like really fun and really catchy, like melodically, very sophisticated. I get a lot of the choruses stuck in my head. It'll just pop back in. The lyrics are not always tip top. I'm on a subjective level. I really like good lyrics. I'm not saying they're not good, but I'm a little picky. So it's something that probably won't be an issue for a lot of people. And there are some actually really good and sophisticated lyrics in here as well. So overall, that's kind of my...
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. This record has really grown on me too, because if we had done this video like right when it came out, and this is my problem with some like music YouTubers, like, you hear it one time on the day it comes out, and you need to get your video out so that it's, popular at the time. It strikes at the right time. But maybe you haven't taken it in and allowed it to sort of percolate a bit. So with that said, this has really grown on me. There's songs that I didn't even like that now are maybe some of my favorites. And I think a lot of it is because of the strength of those choruses. They've proved once again that they are just so catchy and infectious and melodic and creative when it comes to songwriting, but especially hooks and choruses.
Yeah, you listen to this album as a whole, and it just comes off as so strong and fun. And I listened to it once in headphones, and then I listened to it in the car while I was running errands, and I was just kind of like, yeah, this is a great car song, like a car album.
Yeah. I mean, quick, really brief background here. We've talked about Blink a couple times. I'll throw one of the videos up here. Love Untitled. We both love that record. I love every second of that record. It came out when I was 13. That's the Blink I grew up with. We covered Enema of the State. We were quite charmed by it. A little less thrilled about Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. And we did make a video about Neighborhoods, but we didn't put it out because it wasn't very good. So we'll do that again soon. Back to One More Time. Yeah, I want to talk about the title track real quick because that's the biggest example for me.
Yeah, I think so for me too. Like I said, there's some of the singles and stuff we were a little bit trepidatious, I guess, about the album based on the singles. And then after a while, you're just like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, when One More Time, the song came out, everyone was so positive about it. And it was like, it was so warmly received. It was very popular for the band. And we were kind of scratching our heads. And I think it was some stuff like, I'd say like the first verse, like I feel like it's a little like on the nose,
right.
And I'm like, okay, I get it. But hearing it now, especially once it gets to the chorus and the like, do I have to die to hear you miss me? I think it's just like really effective, and I feel like I can fully appreciate it now that it's been a few months.
I mean, same for me. I do to me, I miss a little bit more like subtlety and like nuance in the lyrics. But again, I'm sure there's tons of people who feel exactly the opposite, and they're just like, this is how I feel, and they're saying it, and I identify with it. So again, it's totally subjective, and it's not something that puts me off.
And it's cool to hear that vulnerability. Like, we've touched on that on some of the other videos, their willingness to be very vulnerable on a record. And I think especially what this song is about and how much the fans know this story or connected with this story. Like it just feels like an important song now, and I'm really glad it grew on me. You know, I'm glad we didn't make this video right away.
Yeah, because we probably would have been a lot more negative. And so, like, moving into a little bit of a different discussion, if we were talking about our favorite songs on the album, my 100% favorite is Cut Me Off. I love it. I think it's really great. And I remember I listened to the album, you came in and you said, hey, what's your favorite song? And I said, this one. And you were like, what?
Yeah, so, okay, I'm sure you guys know better than I do. I think I maybe have a vague memory of, like, hearing that they were adding songs to the record, but I downloaded it when it came out, so I'd never had those. And so, like, yeah, unless I, like, really knew what was going on. So I didn't have, I think, Cut Me Off, and I also didn't have See You, which wasn't one of my favorites anyway. But yeah, Cut Me Off was great. There's like, I like when Tom does that like low, little sadder, melancholy voice.
Yeah, me too.
He only busts it out sometimes. But yeah, that was really neat. And there's just so many sides to this record. You got some short, silly songs. You have like stuff like Untitled and Neighborhoods. You have a little bit poppier stuff even.
I really liked that they leaned into some more pop and modern production on a couple songs. So Cut Me Off for sure, and then Blink Wave really stood out to me because there was, Blink Wave has some synthy stuff, some like you were saying, some Cure influence.
Yeah, that song was one of my favorites. It might be no, it's not my favorite, but it's in my top 3. And I think it's like such a successful melding of what they've done before, their influences like The Cure, and embracing some modern pop production. Taking the retro, bringing it into the now, mixed with what they've always done, and their like infectious hooks. Really, just like they pulled that one off for sure.
Yeah, for me, it's an eclectic album. There's a lot of different kind of stuff going on. It still works because I think the energy is there in each song. There's like the same kind of energy, even though like the genres kind of mishmash. But what I want to see moving forward, if they do more stuff, would definitely be like the Blink Wave and the Cut Me Off type of progression where it's a little more mature, but it's still classic Blink.
Interesting. You know what I would like to see moving forward? Detune those guitars, get a little heavier. Like,
yeah.
So my favorite song is More Than You Know. I love how we hear like, in that part where Tom's sort of yelling, the pre-chorus, I guess, really sounds like Untitled. That's the most Untitled part, I think. You know what part I'm talking about? Yeah. So I love that song, and then we get something we've never gotten from Travis, which is double bass. So he's pushing himself forward too. I mean, I'm sure he can do it while sleeping and doing his taxes, but you know what I mean. And then I loved that there was an old Boxcar Racer idea brought onto this album, song Terrified. Yeah. And it's like deep and dark and heavy. And I was happy to see that because I think the whole Boxcar thing is such an important, like, it's such an integral part of their story.
Right.
And it's where things start to fork off a little bit, where this animosity starts, and where pushing themselves starts. You don't get Untitled without Boxcar Racer. So it felt like, much like One More Time, it had to be there. It's like an important song on the story of this album.
Yeah, embracing everything about it. I agree to an extent with that too. I think the interlude, which we cannot say because of the swear word. I
can always bleep it. The short one, face.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That was. I could have used a whole song of that. Honestly, it was definitely silly, but I thought the guitar tone was really great, and the way it was performed vocally, I was really into it.
What did you think of Travis having vocals on this album for the first time?
Great, yeah.
It was cool.
It was cool.
So what's he on? Someone clarify for me. So he's on One More Time. He says One More Time. Then he's on Face. I think I maybe heard him in something else doing like a just like kind of thing. But yeah, that's cool. I'm glad they all sing. I wonder if he does it live, has a little mic, or maybe he has the Phil Collins like "Can I take your order" thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I just love that they're all very involved and they're trying stuff and they're like, this is what we do best and this is what we want to do.
Are there any like standout lyrics?
Yeah. Well, I had a couple just like bits I thought because, like I've said, sometimes their lyrics can be very straightforward on the nose. And then sometimes they're really clever. So when he rhymes pathetic with aesthetic, I
like
thought was
that.
particularly good.
Yeah.
And then Witching Hour and Drugs You Devour. Not the most groundbreaking thing in the world, but it really, when you're listening to the songs and something like that comes up, you just go, oh man, like that wasn't just, he didn't just like throw away, you know, that was something very thoughtful.
Yeah, it's not always the first thing you think of.
Yeah.
It's not always like friend and end, like the worst rhyme ever, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that they were present. I can feel them excited about it. I can feel them into it. It's feelings and tones that are overall completely absent from something like Neighborhoods, where you're just like, this is kind of like a downer record. Like it just like sounds like they're bummed. I can hear it. I can feel it coming off the record. You know, the listener can feel those things. You maybe don't think that they would. They totally can. And I think in this instance, you can feel the excitement and the newness, and we're starting this up again and we're into it. I want to get into just like a couple of negatives just to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, most things that we listen to have like at least one or two little things. It's hard to have an album without any flaws. So if you think this album doesn't have any flaws, that's cool. And this is just our opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of the point of the channel.
Yeah.
We're not. I think that a lot of music and movie discussion on this platform is like way too black and white. We're trying to make a community where we can just discuss music and not get too fired up about it. So here's some things I didn't like. Overly processed vocals. Let's talk about that for a second. Very non-fun topic.
Yeah.
But you can hear it right away. Anthem Part 3 starts. There's like a bad edit in Tom's voice where you can tell they like patched in another take for the second part of the line or whatever. I should not be able to tell. I shouldn't be able to hear that immediately.
Yeah, especially on such a high-profile band. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think Aaron Rubin, Alon's brother, did a lot of the engineering here. I think Travis was involved with a lot of the production, which makes sense because these drums have no dynamic to them. Every hit is like Animal from the Muppets. Bam! And it's all like overly compressed, overly loud, oftentimes taking a lot of attention away from guitar. Guitar doesn't have much room to breathe here. It's competing with these huge snare hits and kick drums that are just like so oomphy and present. So I think my overall negatives are just on like an engineering production standpoint. I want to hear some rawness. Tom and Mark, not the greatest singers in the world. Doesn't matter. They bring the passion. I don't need it to sound perfectly produced in tune and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, before autotune was ubiquitous, there was a lot more imperfection in vocals on records, and it was just accepted.
I think
that's fine. Yeah.
And then I think it mostly goes for Tom here on the record because like I like how weird his voice is. I don't need it to be corrected. And also, you know, quick side note, Mark kind of gets a pass because he said that the chemo just completely destroyed his vocal cords. So whatever he had to do to get this, you know, record sounding good vocally, that's fine. I'm more talking about Tom stuff and those drums. Geez, yeah, the drums were a little much. I've seen it. This seems to be a contentious topic online, so we'll move on. We do like it. We like the record.
We like the record.
Any other negatives we should cover?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the lyrics for me were the main thing on some of the songs. But again, like I know there's so many people who like do not care.
I would also just like trim the fat a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you're coming back. It's a new record. It's been so long. I kind of feel like you want to leave them wanting more a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember very different band, but often cited on this channel, Radiohead. I remember waiting for In Rainbows. Finally comes out. It's 10 songs, but it's immaculate.
Yeah.
And that's so exciting. It's like, yeah, you did want more. And eventually there was an In Rainbows disc 2 where you got some of that additional material. And yeah, maybe some of that's my favorite, but it wasn't on the album and the album's not bloated. Maybe there could have been a similar action taken here where we get like some additional songs later. But even when it came out, before they added those songs, I already felt like I would cut 3 or 4 just to just to really strengthen what's already there.
Yeah, I like a record that kind of just starts and ends, and you're kind of like, oh, it's already over. You know, like that was like a good, consistent experience. I kind of didn't even like realize I listened to the whole thing. You know,
I like 10 to 12.
Yeah,
I think 10 to 12 is good. I think 14 is always where it starts to get a little long in the tooth. Speaking of which, let's wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think. I want to hear favorite songs. Where do you stand on the seemingly very controversial like production opinion on this record? We didn't even cover edging, but we did before, so I'll put it here if you want to keep hearing us talk about this stuff. All right, thanks. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're past 500 now, which, hey, isn't a lot, but if 500 people were in this room, it'd be a lot of people. So thank you. I'm Joe.
and I'm Stephanie.
Talk to you later.
Bye.